All right, welcome Hometown Realtors and whoever else might be on here. We have one that's just a phone number. I guess that's Adrian. So it is all hometown people right here, although we do welcome any guests. My name is Dean Cheatham. They couldn't find anybody else to teach a class today, so you get me. So we're talking about discipline, okay? And if I could say, if there's one thing that is a pillar that is important to in your foundation of your real estate business, discipline would probably be the number one thing I would identify. So I tried to come up with a definition of discipline, and I was pretty much a C student my whole life, and no one ever really asked me to make definitions or do anything very astute. But for you, I'm going to try. All right, so what is discipline? I think discipline is doing the right thing for you, or you doing the right thing for you, even when no one else is watching. Okay. So think about, like, a really easy analogy for discipline is in dieting, right? I mean, is there any real, I mean, there's a nutrition science and all that kind of stuff, but really when it comes down to it, one of the best diet plans that I've ever heard of was what Mike was going to come up with. He said he had a website that he was going to put out there, and it was a diet website that was going to revolutionize Americans, called Put Down the Fork, Fat Ass, right? Because we all know that if you eat less and maybe you exercise more, right, is that a pretty good strategy to help with your weight management, right? I mean, that's pretty much it. However, if you're like me, maybe there's been times when you knew that eating a whole row of Oreos might be best for you, but you did it anyway. Anybody in that club? I mean, isn't a whole row, isn't that a serving? Maybe that's a few too many than a serving, but you know what I'm saying. So you know that if you go and you plan on eating one slice of pizza and you eat the whole pizza, that's probably not the greatest thing for you. So what we're talking about there is that's discipline. So that is the lack of discipline. So if you can't manage your own decisions, then you don't have any discipline, right? Because I don't know that many people who said, to themselves, "Well, keep going with the diet and exercise," that they're like, you know what, I'm in such great shape. I want to see what it would be like to be huge and fat and just out of shape. So I'm going to really focus on eating as much as I can and not exercising. You think many people ever do that? Not too many. Okay, so back to the definition: doing the right thing for you, even when no one else is looking. Like when you go to the pantry and get those extra Oreos. I wrote down another definition. I wrote, suck it up, Buttercup. Because sometimes these things don't feel good, right? Having discipline doesn't always feel good in the moment, does it? It does not. We know we got to do it. Okay, so suck it up, Buttercup. I mean, it isn't that big a deal to have some discipline. Not eating an Oreo or an ice cream sandwich or whatever it is, it's not the end. I mean, has anybody ever died from, maybe doing, maybe eating a salad versus having a supersized hoagie? Probably not. Probably not. And then I wrote down for a third definition of what discipline is. It's a conscious decision that will hopefully soon become an unconscious decision or a habit that would benefit you. So, like most everybody here, I'm assuming at some point or another during the day probably brushes their teeth. And let's assume that if you're normal, that you would do that some point around the time that you wake up, right? Do you have to really think about that? I mean, do you have to write that down on your list of stuff to do? No, because you've created a habit over time, and that is a discipline, right? Would you agree that brushing your teeth is a discipline? Yes, it is. It's a discipline that you've created, and it's positive for you, because then people don't have to smell your nasty breath. They can be around you. Your teeth don't fall out. and all the other good things that come along with proper dental hygiene. This dental hygiene moment sponsored by Turtles On, my dentist. Anyway, so what we're trying to do here is think about how then do we apply discipline to our real estate lives? Why would we want to do it? How do we do it? How do we stick with it? And what is it going to do for us? That's really what we're trying to talk about today. Okay, so what does it take then to create discipline in real estate? All right, well, let me get out of the order of my notes. So before we do that, why would we want to have discipline in real estate? Does anybody have any suggestion of why you would need it? You don't. Okay, assuming that you
stay on task.
I'm going to say, and to make maybe not. Assuming everyone here, go ahead, Jay.
Since you can stay on task and accomplish things daily, they need to get done.
Right, we know there's certain things. I mean, most of you are relatively new to the business, but you know that there's certain things you got to get done in order to be successful, right? I mean, if you never talk to anyone, do you have a good shot at being successful in real estate business? Probably not. If you never, if you've got real estate deals and you've got to manage some of your transactional stuff on the back end, make sure that the transactions are going in the right direction. If you never do that, then you're not going to be successful. So that we know there's certain elements, and we'll talk about the specifics of that in a little while, but there's certain things that need to be done. And here's the dirty little secret in real estate. The system is set up for you to fail. Okay, there's no other business really, I mean, there may be something, but there's very few businesses that are set up like this, where you have these 1099 independent contractors that are able to do whatever in the heck they want to do. And there's no real boss. There's no real accountability. They're just, everybody's out on their own, doing their own thing. I mean, what do you think that would happen if you were like at a Fortune 500 company and you're sitting at the meeting at like John Deere or something? You're like, what, why don't we change things? Why don't we just let everybody do whatever the hell they want to do? Wouldn't that be better? What do you think would happen at the board meeting if you brought that up?
You'd be asked to leave.
You'd be shot. I mean, that just doesn't work. That's why you have time cards and bosses and reports and meetings and all this other kind of crap that we don't have. Okay, we don't have that. So where does it come down to? Where does the discipline come from in corporate America? It comes from a structure that you can't get out of your lane, or else you're going to get fired. Like in the military. Okay, Army. I'm General Cheatham. Today we're changing everything. You guys in the Army just do whatever the hell you want to do. All right, that doesn't work. There's a strict chain of command. There's rules of engagement. There's the Geneva Convention. There's all sorts of stuff. In real estate, there ain't no Geneva Convention. You're just out there doing your own thing. So you have got to have incredible discipline in order to be successful. You've got to do the right things for you, even when no one else is looking, even when you don't feel like it. Okay? Does that all make sense? So what does it take to be disciplined? I would write these things down, and there may be others, but these are 4 things that I wrote down that I think are important. Okay. Number 1, focus. Focus. Is it easy in this business to lose focus? Go like this or like this? It is easy to lose focus because there's a lot of different elements, and there's a lot of people, a lot of chatter, there's a lot of noise telling you do this, do that. Oh, just get on Facebook. Oh, hold an open house. Oh, do this. Buy the talking house. Get a put balloons all over your car or something, all sorts of weird stuff. You've got to sort of focus on what's important for you to find success, okay? The second one I wrote down is desire, and I think this might be the most important one. I doubt anybody got in this business to fail. Right? Every time I go and speak to the class, like at Mosley Flint, I ask them, I'm like, how many of you decided to get into real estate to change your lives for the better? Everybody raises. Like, how many of you want to get out of your job? How many of you want to make more money? How many of you want to do things for your family or your church or whatever and improve your circumstances? Was that why y'all got in the business? I hope so. Okay. Nobody, like Jake, you didn't get in the business to fail, right? You didn't say, you know what, I've been really good like this computer world and all this kind of stuff. So I'd like to do something where I just fall flat on my face and get kicked in the ass. Was that your reason for choosing real estate? No, you want to do something different. You want to improve your circumstances. You want to make money or help people, whatever it might be. Okay. So your desire for success is like the fuel for your discipline. You understand that? If you don't have a desire, a burning desire to be successful, then there's no gas in your tank for your discipline and to create these habits around disciplines. You understand that? Does that make sense? Lakita, nod or tell me no. Okay. So desire is important. In fact, another little definition that just came to my mind is, you know, the pain, let's say this, the perceived pain of doing the activity has got to be overwhelmed by your desire to get to where you want to go. Understand that? So like the eating the Oreo, the pain of not doing that has got to be overwhelmed by the fact that you're trying to get yourself in shape. The pain of picking up the phone, picking up the phone and making some calls, or the pain of having to sit there and write notes, or the pain of going and doing pop-by gifts. That's got to be, you just got to say, you know what, that sort of sucks. Maybe it really doesn't, but it might. But look at what I'm going to get. You know, I'm going to get to my goals. I'm going to be able to get out of debt. I'm going to be able to allow my family to make choices that we never dreamed we could make. We're going to be able to give money to our church. We're going to be able to go on vacation. We're going to be able to do all these things. So writing a few damn notes and phone calls and whatever else I got to do, that's a piece of cake. See that? Okay. So that's desire. The desire is the gasoline that you're putting into your engine of discipline. Next is consistency, right? Consistency. Back to the diet thing. Anybody here ever been on a really solid diet for one day? Yeah, I mean, it's pretty easy, you know. Like I've quit drinking a bunch, you know, like today, no more beer. Okay. Tomorrow, different story. All right. All right. So with consistency comes results, because the number one frustrating thing for new agents is it doesn't happen as fast as they want it to. Well, usually it's never going to happen overnight, but usually it's because of their activities are not as consistent as they need to be in order to get to where they want to go. So consistency is very important. That's doing things over and over and over again. I sometimes call it the stacking effect. Jake, what did Brian Buffini call that the other day in the film? I couldn't remember it then, and I can't remember it now. Tate, do you remember? In 100 Days of Greatness. I don't know what it, compounding effect is another term for it. Obviously, you guys didn't pay much attention either. So it's doing things over and over and over and over again. The result doesn't usually come day one. It's the stacking, the compounding effect of doing those things. Again, just like diet and exercise. If you just have the discipline to not eat a sleeve of Oreos tonight, you're probably not going to look in the mirror and see like a six-pack abs. But if you go to the gym and you do these things for a year, then you're going to be able to look at yourself and say, damn, something has changed for the better. All right.
Critical mass.
The last one I wrote down is commitment. What does it take? It takes a commitment. You've got to know where you want to go. Okay. You got to have some goals. You have to know where you want to go, and you have to commit to it and just say the hell with whatever other, whatever self-talk comes in or what anybody else is doing. I got to do it. So that's it. So basically what we're talking about, in order to set up discipline, it's a decision that we need to make, or decisions that we need to make that we have to be loyal to for a period of time that's probably longer than what we want. Okay, everybody understand that? Decisions, conscious decisions that we make, and we got to be loyal to those decisions for a long period of time. So what I would say is, if you think of yourself right now, where do you have discipline in your life and where do you not? You know, some people are good in some areas, and some people, they may be extremely good in some areas and they're not so good in others. If we're focusing on real estate, and I think that's where we all need to focus, that's our job. But I think for me, when I started thinking about this, I needed to develop disciplines in other areas as well. So if there's, you know, like for me, when this whole idea of discipline came in, I was going to Orlando, Florida to see Mike Ferry. And I decided on my way down there that I was going to really absorb and really do things to change my life so that I could really start finding success in real estate. And I had also gained a bunch of weight because I was undisciplined about my eating habits while I was sort of running around like a chicken cut with my head cut off in real estate. So what I did was I decided I was going to go to the gym and I was going to start a regular regimen of working out. And really how I was going to do that is no matter what, I was going to get up at 5:30 every morning, 5:30 a.m. I'd been waking up at 7:30, 8 o'clock or something like that. I said, I'm going to change this thing. I'm going to have the discipline to get up at 5:30 every morning. Okay. And to this day, I get up at 5:30 or before every morning. Okay. That was a small step. I decided where I wanted to go. I wasn't exactly sure how I was going to get there. I didn't know what I was going to do, but I knew that if I could just get up, then more than likely I would put myself in a position. If you're up at 5:30, what the hell else are you going to do? You know, I mean, for me, there just wasn't a lot of choices. I don't really like watching a lot of TV at that time of day. So, I mean, I might as well go to the gym, right? Versus if you stay in the bed, what are you going to do? You're going to go to sleep. Okay. So you got to decide what you want to do, and then you got to decide where you want to go, and you got to think of like little baby steps that you could take to get there. Rome wasn't built in a day. So when you're talking about discipline, don't think like if for some reason, like if Tate wants to, he wants to make $100,000 this year in real estate, and he wants to be in the Mr. Universe competition, and he wants to do all sorts of other stuff, learn to speak French, and what, you know, you can't you can't fight but so many battles at once. I would say start small. For most of us, start small and then master that and then build on that. Okay, so it's almost like creating a habit, if you will. A discipline, like we said in the original definition, could be sort of like a habit. Okay, so if you choose something, usually 90 days is the measuring stick of when you're either going to get it or you're not going to get it, right? And if one of the reasons that I've heard as far as setting these kind of goals for disciplines, if you go beyond that, most people can't, that they need at least a miniature finish line. The danger of the quicker finish line is sometimes people are very diligent for the 90 days, and then on day 91, they throw it away. We talk a lot in real estate about, you know, even when you have a bad day, don't abandon ship. You need to stay on it. And that's the same thing with discipline. I mean, there are times when we're all going to fail in the short run. Yet if again, with the stacking effect, if you're trying to prospect or write notes every day and one day you don't do it, but then for the next 90 days you do it, was that one day, did that really affect you? No, it doesn't. It doesn't. It's the exact opposite. If you write notes for one day and then you take a year off, that one day you just wasted your time. Versus if you write notes for 300 and you know, how many days are in a year? 356 days in a year. Is that right? So if you write notes for 340 days, then if you miss a few days, it really isn't a big deal. Okay, so that is important. So choose something, then commit for 90 days. All right, let's see what else we got here. So how do you stay with your, I guess, how do you then have discipline? How do you have the discipline to do this? How do you stick with the discipline? Number one, hang around people that have discipline. All right. If you know people that are absolute slackers and they don't have any discipline in their lives and you're ready to put some in yours, then you need to get away from them for a while. I'm not saying abandon them or divorce them or if it's your spouse, but try to move in the direction of people that are doing the things that you want to do. Okay. Because that can be motivational for you. So if one of your goals is to write notes, then maybe you could set up what we call an accountability partner. One of the greatest things in the world and the easiest things in the world to do is set up an accountability partner. If you know, so if you know that Ty is great at writing notes and you want to write notes and you say, hey, Ty, would it be cool if we touch base at 11:30 every morning when you finish writing your notes and we just say, hey, did you do it? How many did you do? How'd it go? Whatever. And then if I don't do it, then I'm going to give you 10 $100 checks. And every time I don't do it, you just cash one. I mean, accountability can be very motivational, can be scary. But again, is the pain, are we willing to see beyond the pain to get to where we want to get? You know, I mean, think of this extreme example. Obviously, Hometown Realty does not condone this. We're not suggesting this, but think of this extreme example. Let's say that you wanted to call 20 people every day, make 20 good contacts on your phone. And I hired a guy to sit in the corner of your office with a machine gun. Okay. And if you didn't make your calls, they were just going to gun you down right there in the office. Do you think we'd have any problems with you making your calls? How about like a shock collar? I've thought of all these great ideas. How about like a shock collar? We put it on you and I've got like a screen like this and I'm looking at everybody. And as soon as Carell gets off target, bam, I get by. Whoa. Do you think we're going to have any problems with Carell's performance? Probably not. Not unless she's willing to take the collar off. And that's the whole analogy here. You have the power in discipline to take the collar off. You can't let yourself touch it. And accountability allows you to stay in the game longer because you know somebody else is watching. All right. So maybe try to create that. All right. So the next thing I wrote, how do you keep this discipline, is make it a priority. All right. Make it a priority. Try to get whatever your discipline that you're working on, try to do it early in the day so that stuff doesn't get in the way. If you fall off, you got to get back on, and then you need to visualize the success. So before you start whatever it is, let's just say that you're gonna do pop buys, and you want to make it a habit or a discipline to do pop buys. I'm going to visualize how it's going to go. I'm going to go out. People are going to be happy to see me. They're going to give me referrals. It's going to be great. Okay. Versus this is going to suck and whatever else. It's going to be great. I want to visualize that so that I can have that as a high priority in my day, get it done early, and just have a good time doing it. Okay. So take out the negative connotations or whatever it might be. Number 3, I wrote down to keep discipline. I wrote down options and choices are bad. Okay. So one of the reasons that I have always come to the office to work, and I've never had a home office, is because I don't really have the discipline to work at home very well. I like if I'm at home and I try to work, I like to eat. I like to, I don't know, I just see stuff around the house that I could do, like shoot my bow or just goof around. Where here, maybe I goof around. I may not be the model agent, but if I'm here, at least I'm in a scenario, and also usually will be dressed in professional attire. I've got my game face on, I'm here, and usually I get stuff done. Not always, but usually I do. So again, that helps me eliminate options. We want options. Well, you got in the business. Here's another part of why this business is set up for failure is most of us got in this because we wanted freedom, right? We wanted freedom. We don't want the boss to tell us what to do. Hey, boss, stick it. You know, we want to do that. But the problem is the freedom that we really want is the freedom that all this discipline is going to give us. Like the ultimate freedom, not that money's everything, but the ultimate freedom is having the ability to make a lot of choices. But if you eliminate your choices at work, then you're going to have a lot of choices to make outside of work, like what color Lamborghini that Lakita wants to buy, what kind of private jet would Jake like to use this weekend? Those kind of choices. Are those fun choices? Yes. Yeah. So allow yourself that, but you don't want to create an environment where you have a lot of choices. You just want to make sure you're boxed in. So if you treat this like a job, if you really try to put the accountability in that you would have if you worked for the man, then maybe you have a better chance of success. And the discipline doesn't always have to come from internal. It can be, you can create some outside forces to help you. All right. Number 4, I wrote down, are there any excuses that are more important than your goals? So what out there is more important than you getting to your goals? I mean, you got to want it. Look at these sports teams and the ones, when they get to a high level, pretty much the common thing is, what, we came together as a team and we decided that we were going to do this. Like in this COVID stuff, it's like teams have said, you know what, we're going to sacrifice going out and partying and doing all this because we don't want to get infected and all this kind of stuff. We're going to isolate ourselves. We're going to focus on the matter at hand, and we're going to win the Super Bowl, or we're going to win the championship, whatever it is. And that's what it's got to be for you. Are there excuses that are going to be more important than you getting to your goals? All right. Share your goals with people around you so that they can call you out. Many of you have heard the story I told about when my son was a little boy and I wanted to list 50 properties so I could buy a chopper, not the kind of chopper I want now, which is a helicopter, but a motorcycle chopper, right? And every day we made like this thing to put on the kitchen refrigerator. And every day I came home and Clayton was all excited. He's like, do we get to stick a motorcycle on? Because every time I sold a house, we put a little sticker on the chart, and he was like, well, did you do it? And I'd be like, no. He's like, gee, you suck, and I didn't want to be that guy. I mean, I wanted to be the guy, like, not only did I do it, here's 3, go ahead and stick them on there. Well, it was great because I was highly motivated to stay on target, to stay focused. There weren't any excuses that were more valuable. I guess for me, it was like, I didn't want to disappoint him. I think I wanted to not disappoint him more than I wanted the chopper. Does that make sense? And anyway, so I didn't disappoint him and I got the chopper. So that was pretty cool. So maybe I should do that with the real chopper, but my wife isn't going to let me get one. So I don't think it's going to be very good. But anyway, that's a marriage issue. We'll talk about that another time. Okay. So are there any excuses? The next one is, we talked about creating accountability. And I also wrote, not just accountability partners, but public awareness, which is letting the world know what you're trying to do. And maybe that can shame you sometimes into doing what you need to do, even when you don't want to do it. All right, so here are the 7 disciplines. I guess it's 7. If it's not 7, then we'll correct that. But 7 disciplines in real estate. Number 1, consistent prospecting. You might want to write these down. Consistent prospecting. And I hear all sorts of excuses from y'all. Well, I don't know many people. I don't know. Well, gosh, tough luck then. Can you say, would you like fries with that? That's an option for you. You got to be consistently prospecting. You've got to be casting your net out in front. Mara Long is on this thing now. I talked to her. Your pipeline is everything. If you're not consistently prospecting, you're not going to bring in new business, especially when you're new. The number 2, discipline, being able to stay on a schedule. Okay. Some of us confuse this and think we need to have every second of every day regimented, and we don't. But there needs to be some type of a schedule that has your priorities set into some kind of a timeline to where you can have an idea if you're going to be able to get these done in a day or not. Okay. So being able to follow some kind of a schedule is a very important discipline. All right. And back to the whole thing about when I need to get up early. If you get up early, then at least you've got more time to hopefully get things done. Those people, and what's the key to getting up early is going to bed early. Because if you go to bed at 2 a.m., it's hard to get up at 4:30. So, and the other nice thing about getting up early, nobody really cares what you're doing either. Do you get a lot of phone calls at 4:45 a.m.? If you do, then, I don't know, maybe you got a side business or something that might not be legal, but the key is, having the discipline to stay on some kind of a schedule. The next discipline is following up with your leads. So we work so hard to generate leads, and then sometimes we feel a little bit bad and awkward about following up with people. We don't want to seem pushy. Well, if you have a lead, then they obviously express some kind of concern about buying or selling a house. That's your job. That's what you do. That's what you've been training for. So don't feel bad about it. Let them tell you that they don't want you to hear from you anymore, something like that. But stay after them, because you can help them. You can help them better than you're better trained than the next guy down the block. All right. The next discipline is practicing, your listing presentation. The next discipline is practicing your buyer presentation and all the other presentations. So that's a double whammy, practicing. How much practice are you willing to do? Do you have the discipline to practice every day? If you take a listing today, what would be the average price of a listing, let's say, is $300,000, something like that. So that's a $9,000 commission. If you were going to get paid to do a performance where somebody's going to pay you $9,000, would you practice for that, or would you just go out there and wing it? And how much practice are you doing? I mean, how many times you practice your listing presentation today? I'm going to say most of you, none. So how do you think it's going to go when you get into the arena? Like if you were going to fight Conor McGregor, I used Conor McGregor this morning, but if I were going to fight Conor McGregor, which I would not do, but if I were going to fight a professional fighter, I think I might practice fighting. Does that make sense? I mean, I might hire a coach. I might go to the boxing gym. I might watch some videos or something. I mean, I got to do something or the guy's going to kill me, right? Well, listing is no different. I mean, it's competitive out there, but if you get the listing, what's going to happen in today's market? It's going to sell. So damn it, get off your butts and learn how to give a great listing presentation so you can win and you can get paid and you can do the things you want to do. So practice is very important. That's an extreme discipline that most of us lack. All right, you have to have the discipline to do some planning and set goals. Doesn't have to be planning your life, like you don't have to think about what you're going to be doing when you're 100 years old, but plan at least for 30 days, 90 days, for the rest of the year. Have some kind of planning and goal setting out there. All right. And number 7 would be you have to have the discipline to keep your mindset right. I think that the number one reason why people drop out of this business is they can't control what I've always called the drunk monkey. They let the drunk monkey tell them, no, this is no good. No, Dean doesn't know what he's talking about. Mike Chenault is a loser and all, whatever it is, I suck. You can't have that kind of thinking going on in your head. And who controls the thoughts in your own head? You do. You just have to have the discipline to do it. You have to have the discipline when you hear those negative thoughts to get them out of your head. That's up to you. Now, I can't control that. That's up to you. So the bottom line here is having discipline takes action, and you have to maybe start small. Don't change the world in one day, but think about one thing that you need to change and commit to doing that. It doesn't even have to start with real estate. It could start with fitness. It could start with being a better mom or being a better brother or a son or whatever it might be. And just how you do that is really the discipline that you create. So I wrote down, why do I like being a pretty disciplined person? Because I love the results. Mike Chenault in 1995 asked me to get involved in this business. And thank God he did, because it's enabled me, not that I was unhappy before, I was very happy before, but it's enabled me incredible opportunities. It's enabled, one of the opportunities I love is I love to help you. I mean, I love to give back. I hope you understand that. I love helping and teaching and coaching and watching people become successful. And I also love doing the things that I like to do for me and for my family. And so why do I love discipline? Because I love the results. And I hope maybe you can find the same. So does anybody have any questions? No one will impress me with a question today. All right, so without further ado, we'll wrap it up. Thank you, and look forward to, if you do have a question, you don't want to talk about it publicly, I'm 804-244-1022. Give me a call and I'll try to answer it. Otherwise, have a great afternoon. Thanks for all you do.
Thanks, Dean.